Okay, what's going on at this hour? Where are you right now? You want to know where I am? I'm on a spa vacation. With Luna? Oh, I see. I found everything out when my husband lied to me. My name is Kate. I'm a 30-year-old office worker. I've been married to my husband Daniel for 6 years, and we have a 6-year-old daughter named Luna. We got married during my pregnancy, and Luna is growing up to be a wonderful girl. Mom, I'll help you. Really? Can you roll the hamburger patties like this? Yes, I'll do it. There you go. Oh, Luna, you're so good at this. Here's one for Dad and one for Mom. That's a big one for Daddy. Daddy's had a tough day at work, so he deserves the big one. He might even cry with happiness. As I enjoyed cooking with my daughter, my husband emerged from the bath. Luna ran to him and said, "I made your hamburger, Daddy." He was thrilled and responded, "Really? I can't wait to eat it." We were living as a happy family, or so I thought. Both my husband and I worked, but he had a shorter commute and fewer overtime hours, so I often asked him to pick up Luna from kindergarten. Lately, though, he'd been coming home later due to work commitments, and I had to pick her up and bring her home. Mom, does Daddy not like me anymore? My heart ached as Luna asked this on our way home from kindergarten. She missed him because he usually picked her up, and now he came home so late, sometimes missing her entirely. I comforted her, even though my own heart was breaking. Daddy is working very hard for us right now. Once things settle down, he'll have more time to spend with you. Really? Yes, really. So let's support him together, okay? I'll cook for him. Luna smiled, a truly good girl, and said, "I can't wait until we can eat together as a family again." But as months passed, Daniel's work schedule remained erratic. He'd come home at 2-3 a.m. or sometimes even take the first train home in the morning. I started to wonder, are you sure it's work? If you're just out drinking, I wish you'd come home to spend time with Luna. I couldn't take it any longer and decided to confront my husband. Luna has been left alone by her father for a month, and she looks so sad, I said, trying to express my frustration. But instead of understanding, my husband grew defensive. What's with that tone? I attend company drinking parties for the sake of our family. It's unfair of you to accuse me like that. Whoa, okay, I'm sorry, I replied, feeling a pang of guilt. But you have to understand, Luna is feeling lonely because she hardly gets to play with her dad. My words seemed to hit a nerve. He fell silent and retreated to the bedroom, leaving an awkward silence between us. Soon after, I received notice from work that I needed to go on a short business trip. There were several things I needed to check in person, and it looked like I'd be away for at least one night, possibly two. My first concern was what to do with Luna. My parents lived far away, so it would be challenging for them to come and help. I would have to rely on my husband, but given how busy he'd been lately, I wasn't sure if I could trust him with her. Still, I had no choice but to ask him. I waited up for him to come home, wondering if he had been drinking as usual. By the time he arrived, it was well past midnight, around 3 o'clock, to be exact. The sound of the door unlocking signaled his return. "Welcome home," I greeted him. "Kate, I didn't realize you were still up," he said, clearly surprised to see me waiting. "I stayed up because I wanted to talk to you." "Talk?" He looked taken aback, and I noticed he was visibly drunk, his face flushed. As he took in the situation, he suddenly looked pale. He sat down at the dining table, his gaze fixed on me. "So, what did you want to talk about?" "It's not a big deal," I said, trying to keep my tone calm despite his agitation. "I just wanted to let you know that I have a business trip coming up. It's short notice, but I need to go in 2 weeks on Friday. I would need to stay at least one night, and if there was a lot of work, I might have to extend it to 2 nights. Can you take care of Luna while I'm away?" I asked apologetically. "I know you're busy with work." My husband looked relieved. "Oh, that's totally fine." "Really? Are you okay with that?" he asked, genuinely concerned. "Of course," I replied. "I'm busy, but I should prioritize you and Luna." "Actually, how about I take a day off and take Luna on an overnight hot spring trip?" he suggested. "I haven't had much time to spend with her lately. I'm sure she'd love that." I was relieved to hear him say that. It reassured me that he cared about our family. Until recently, I had been worried about whether he truly valued us, but it seemed my concerns were misplaced. The next morning, as I was taking Luna to kindergarten, I told her the news. "What?" she asked, eyes wide with excitement. "Daddy and I are going on a hot spring trip together," I said. Luna's face lit up with happiness, and seeing her so excited made me happy too. Then came the day of my business trip. It was my first trip since Luna was born, but it went smoother than I had anticipated. The people I met were very organized and had everything ready for me to review. I finished my work by 7 p.m. and thought to myself, if I'm done already, maybe I can go home today. I wasn't sure if I would need to stay one night or two until I assessed the status of my work. I had planned to spend the first night at a manga cafe instead of a hotel to avoid any cancellation fees. With this plan, I could catch the last train home if I managed to get a ticket. I looked forward to a relaxing evening at home if necessary. Hastily, I boarded the train and headed back. I imagined my husband and daughter enjoying a nice meal at the hotel, and the thought of my daughter's happy face eased my mind. I planned to wake up early the next morning, clean the house thoroughly, and surprise them. I arrived home around 11 p.m., wondering why the living room light was still on. I thought maybe my husband had simply forgotten to turn it off. With a critical look, I went inside and was met with a distressing sight. My daughter curled up on the sofa, crying. "Oh, Luna, what's wrong?" "Mommy," she sobbed. "Why are you crying? Where is Daddy?" My husband was nowhere to be seen, and I felt a surge of frustration. I needed to get answers from my daughter. "Daddy left in the morning without me," she explained between tears. "What? What is going on?" I thought, furious at my husband's irrational behavior. I knew I needed to calm Luna down first. I pulled her into a tight hug. "I'm so sorry, sweetie. I know it's hard being alone so late at night." As I comforted her and stroked her hair, Luna began to relax and eventually fell asleep in my arms, feeling the warmth and safety of my embrace. Luna seemed exhausted from the fear and anxiety, so I gently carried her into the bedroom. After settling her in, I went back to the living room and called my husband. "Kate, why are you calling at this hour? Where are you?" "I'm at a spa trip with Luna." "Why are you whispering?" "Luna is already tired and asleep. I don't want to wake her." "Oh, I see. I'm sure she's asleep, but she's not with you, is she?" I realized my husband had lied to me, and though I was close to losing my temper, I managed to stay calm. "How's the trip going?" "We're having so much fun. I wouldn't mind staying another night. The food is great, and the hot springs are wonderful." "Well, why don't you stay another night then?" My husband hesitated, clearly unsure. "But Kate, you'll come home after one night, right?" "I'll be home later than planned. I have a lot of work to do, so I'll need to stay another night. Don't worry about me. Enjoy your trip as long as you like." He didn't question my excuse. "Really? Then I'll extend the stay for one more night." Luna is very excited. I knew Luna needed more time with her daddy, especially since I hadn't been able to give her much attention in the past month. "Make sure you call me when you know when you're coming home," my husband said. "What are you talking about?" She was curled up and crying by herself. I fought the urge to yell at him and ended the call, determined to ensure he faced consequences for the distress he caused Luna. I called my parents to explain the situation and quickly began packing. The next morning, I contacted a moving company. Thankfully, they could come that day, so I arranged for them to move my belongings out. Luna watched in confusion as the movers came in and began taking things away. "I need to talk to you," I said gently. "Luna, I've decided that we won't be living with Daddy anymore. I don't want you to be sad. I'm going to quit my job and move in with Grandma and Grandpa. That way I can spend more time with you." I added, "If we move to Grandma and Grandpa's house, you won't be able to see Daddy as often. What do you want to do?" I felt it was a tough question for a 6-year-old, but I wanted to understand her feelings. "Will I never see Daddy again?" she asked, her voice muffled. "If you really want to see him, I can arrange for you to visit occasionally, but he won't be living with us anymore." Even though my daughter had done nothing wrong, I wanted her to have the chance to see her father if she wished. However, given that he had gone on vacation while leaving her alone at home, I doubted he would make much time for her after the divorce. As I considered all this, Luna seemed to come to a decision. She looked me in the eyes with resolve and said, "I'm going with you, Mommy. Daddy probably doesn't care about me." I cried out, asking him why he was leaving me, but he walked away without a word. My disgust for him grew deeper. To abandon his 6-year-old daughter just to go on vacation with his mistress was unforgivable. He was a terrible man, a poor father, and a disgrace. I regretted leaving Luna with him for the business trip if it meant this would happen. "I'm so sorry for making you so sad, Luna," I said as I hugged her tightly. We began preparing for the move, determined to start fresh. As for my husband, I decided to leave him to his own consequences. With that thought, I took Luna and headed to my parents' house. A few hours later, my phone rang. It was my husband. Hey, why is all your stuff gone? And Luna's stuff too. What's going on? Don't you know why? I replied. Of course not. Luna's crying because her stuff is gone too. Are you still trying to lie to me after everything? My husband seemed confused. Luna is now eating noodles that my mother made. What? He asked, bewildered. We already know you left Luna alone to go on a trip with someone else. How could you leave a 6-year-old girl at home? You're not fit to be a father. If I hadn't come back when I did, you could have traumatized Luna for life. My husband was silent, realizing I was already with Luna. He had no excuses left. It was clear he didn't care about his daughter and was willing to leave her alone just to be with another woman. I can't live with you anymore. I want a divorce, I said firmly. Divorce? Oh no, please think about it again. I can't. I don't want to see you anymore. As I spoke with my husband on the phone, the doorbell rang repeatedly. Oh God, who could it be at a time like this? I wondered aloud. My husband sounded irritated, but I knew who was at the door. It looks like they've arrived, I said, hearing my father-in-law's voice rise in anger through the phone. A moment later, I heard my father-in-law shout, "What the hell are you doing?" followed by a loud thud. It seemed that was the sound of him getting physically confrontational. My father-in-law, a longtime judo practitioner and now a university advisor, had always adored Luna. When I told him about my husband's infidelity and how he left our daughter alone, he was livid. He had vowed to make my husband pay for his actions. What the hell do you think you're doing with your own daughter? I didn't raise you to be like this. My father-in-law's angry voice echoed through the phone. Living on the first floor of our apartment had its advantages. At least there wouldn't be complaints from downstairs neighbors. But since we had already moved out, it was no longer a concern. My father-in-law's intervention ensured that the divorce process went smoothly. I was awarded full custody, and my husband paid alimony and child support in one lump sum. I even managed to secure additional alimony from his mistress. My husband's attempts to remarry his mistress failed. She was only interested in a fling and didn't want marriage. Now, he faced shame at work, had been disowned by his parents, and had lost both his mistress and his daughter. As for me, I'm finding happiness at my parents' house, spending quality time with Luna. My parents are farmers, so I help them with their work, and Luna enjoys the fresh vegetables from their farm. She seems to thrive in this natural setting, and I'm committed to putting her needs first. Leaving the young child alone while chasing after an affair was inexcusable. In retrospect, perhaps I should have involved the police to hold him accountable. But seeing him lose everything he held dear brings a sense of justice. Kate, I hope you find continued happiness with your daughter.